Okay, the first thing we're going to do is explore how to open a file in Photoshop a little bit differently. So I'm going to, one file here is a Photoshop PSD, the other one's a JPEG. I'm going to select them both. I'm going to take them and bring them over to my bridge where I have my Photoshop icon. I'm going to drop them right on the icon, and you'll notice they're going to appear in the Photoshop application. There's this file, which will be our colorful background, and this one here, which is the baby strawberry picture. We're going to do a number of things in this file. Notice the baby here has a kind of red condition here. I'm not sure if it's a reflection from the shirt or some rosacea, but I do know that I want to change that with some color correction. It just looks a little odd in the picture. So I'm going to take the Lasso tool. I'm going to make a little selection around this area here. And notice if I do that and I want to make a color correction, I would go over to image and I would say adjust. I would hit color balance, and I would want to move away from the red here, and I would want to move away from the magenta. And when I hit OK, you notice you can see the discoloration. I'm going to hit Command D, and it's this heavy, deep line. Don't want to do that, right? So I'm reversing here. I'm hitting Command Option Z twice, and I'm hitting Deselect. I'm going to do it again. This time I'm going to make my selection, and I'll go big and broad. It's okay. And then this time I'm going to modify the selection. Go over to Select. I'm going to hit Modify, and I'm going to go to Feather. Modify Feather. And I'm going to give it a number, about 25. That 40 was a little extreme. About 25, and I'm going to hit OK. And notice it changed the selection slightly. But now when I go to Image Adjust, Color Balance, it's not only that it change it slightly, but it's going to do it in a different way. I'm going to move away from red. I'm going to move away from magenta. And I'm going to do it in the highlights as well. I'm going to move away from red. I'm going to move away from magenta. And let's see, I can hit Command H to hide. That's a little much here. Let's go back here. Let's add a little more of that red, a little more of that. But wow, so much better than before. This preview, red and better. Yeah, I think it's okay. I'll hit OK. And I will maintain that. Let's Command H because that hide extras. Let's hide extras. Here we go. I'm going to deselect. And now I'm going to work on the baby. What we want to do is we want to select the baby out of this picture. Let me explain to you why. Notice this picture has a big black area on this side. If we look at the layers, the background is a big black space. The reason we've done that is because we wanted to put the baby in a more dynamic situation. So I'm going to hit the crop tool. And when I hit the crop tool, I click on the space. Notice the baby's eye is right here across these lines. These lines are known as the rule of third, and that's why the crop tool uses it. Matter of fact, right here it says rules of third. Artists like to put key parts of their compositions in these points. We call these points power points. So in the true composition, it looked like this, and the baby's just centered. The eyes are across the third line, which is great, but the canvas was expanded, so the baby lands right here in a PowerPoint. So now what we want to do is we're going to change the composition. So we're going to make a selection of the baby. I'm going to use the Lasso tool. I'm going to say here, don't crop. I'm going to use the Lasso tool. I'm going to go around the edge here, and I don't have to be real exact because that's not what I'm trying to do. And if I go too far, I can correct it. And so you just do the best you can. The key with the Lasso tool is don't let go till you come all the way around. Otherwise, the computer will cut it off for you its own way. You can add to it, but it's just a little easier if you just get it in one swoop. Okay, so I've got this nice big selection. What I want to do is just what we did before. I'm going to modify it. I'm going to go over to Select, and I'm going to say Modify, and I'm going to say Feather. And let's give it a different number this time, a little bit more. We'll go up to 35. Let's try that. And we're going to hit OK. And it changes it some, just like that. Now what I want to do is we're going to go over to the Layers palette and make sure we're on the baby layer. And I'm going to go over to the bottom, and I'm going to click on where it says Add Layer Mask. When I do that, we see the background just kind of fade out and disappear, and that's great. Now what we want to do is we want to add a new background to this. So I'm going to go over, and I'm going to go over to that colorful background. Actually, I won't even do that. I'm going to go to Window Arrange, and I'll set it up to vertical so I can see it. I'm going to take this background. I'm going to take the Move tool. I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to drop it onto my picture. I can then move this out of the way, or quite frankly, I don't need it anymore. I can close it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Command 0 so I can see it in my space. And notice here, there's this big old piece sitting in my space. I want to make changes to that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this time the Polygonal Lasso Tool, and I'm going to click around the edges, and remember how this works. And you want to always come back to it. So here I'm going around the edges and give it a little bit, let it grab a little bit what's going on there, but here in essence, just close it up. And then I'm going to take that area and I'm going to go over to Edit, Fill, the all-powerful Content Aware. I'm going to hit OK. And we get rid of that. You see how it completely changes the background? And if I don't like it, I can do it again. I can say Command Z and do the same thing, Fill, Content Aware. And it'll give me a different random pattern as well. So if I finally like what I have, I can hit Deselect. I can take that and put that underneath the baby file. And so now I've got this here, but I want to expand this picture. So I'm going to grab the Move tool. I'm going to go over to Edit. I'm going to hit Transform, Scale, and then I'm going to make my picture a little bit smaller here. Hit the Magic Wand tool, and I'll put the Magic Wand on, the Zoom tool, put it on minus so I can see the picture better. Now I want to take this layer here, and I want to take this big background picture and I want to scale it. So I'm going to go Edit, and I'm going to say Transform Scale, and now I'm going to grab the picture and I'm going to hit the Shift key and I'm going to pull it outward until about there, double click, and now I've got this new picture of the baby. Hit Command 0, hit File, Save. What a wonderful job.